This is the Lean Builders Hoots on the Ground podcast with absolutely, positively no bullshito. Join us as we dig into exactly what lean construction is and how we can use these concepts and strategies in the field. This podcast will be different as we journey to job sites and mine the minds of lean builders, all in effort to pass forward building knowledge from those who have put their time in to learn a better way. Because that's just what lean builders do. What's up, y'all? Adam Hoots here, the lean builder, Hoots on the ground with no bullshito, and I am thrilled to bring the power of now. That's right, a solo podcast just for you. And what I want to do today is talk a little bit about the spiritual side of things. Now, a lot of you know I believe, but that's not what I'm talking about here, right? That's a huge part of my spiritual life. I believe in the Lord, the Savior, Jesus Christ, but that's not what I'm here to talk to you about today. I have been thrilled with this book called Management Mysterium by Bob Emiliani, and I'm going to tell you right now, this book does such a great job at framing what the spiritual side of business really looks like. Okay, spirituality is a part of every person's life, whether one is religious, agnostic, or atheist. Humans believe in things, good times or bad. Beliefs are a part of how we think and how we try to understand our world through the continuous interplay between the rational and irrational thinking. Humans have enough intelligence to understand many things, but not all things. The things we do not understand at any point in time are typically consigned to the spiritual realm. So that is what we're talking about when I mention spiritual today. Again, check this book out. I'm super excited. We recorded an episode with Bob and it's going through the grind, editing it, shining it up, making it pretty. When you put me next to Dr. Emiliani, it takes a little bit of editing. So huge shout out to Bob. This is the third book that I am on of 28. Only real person out there that I've found that has studying the failures of lean, not necessarily in construction, but lean in business in general. To which I'll quote another one of his books, Irrational Institution says, over 95% of companies that attempt a lean journey are not successful. So that's right, construction. It's not just us. We are not the only ones failing with this progressive management, scientific management, or lean management thinking, all along the lines of challenging the status quo, a lot of that classical management, traditional thinking. This is how we've always done it, kings and queens in charge. A lot of kind of this thinking that I've developed comes straight from Dr. Bob Emiliani. So thank you for that. Excited for y'all to check out that episode. And today I want to talk a little bit about a book that I've read recently called The Power of Now. Many of you may have tuned into one of the last episodes with Matt Oley. He referenced that book to us, and I have been devouring it ever since. This is something I've always heard, right? Be present, be here, right now, in this moment, right? Like you always hear these things, but to actually do it and to experience it has been a very significant thing in my life over the last month. Many of you may have caught this live stream. Matt Oley, James Gable, and myself did here recently. If you haven't, go check out The Uncommon Communicator. That is another podcast by James Gable. On his page on LinkedIn, we went live and we just talked a little bit about this book, and I cannot get it out of my mind. So I had to bring it here to you today. I want to dive into a couple of mind shifts that I have had just in the last couple of weeks while I've been reading this book. The first and the most powerful one, which I believe most humans will never get to, is I am not my mind. I am not what I think. In the book, Eckhart Tolle, who is the author, talks about the self and the being, right? This being is the one who is attached to the mind, who is unable to get out. And the self is the one who is able to separate themselves from the mind and observe the mind to be able to understand, where is this mind going to take me? What thoughts are this mind placing in my head that makes me associate with it? What are the things, again, that mind, that being knows all those bad things, right? In my case, I talked a little bit on the live stream. There's this Adam, and then there's this Hoots, right? And this, again, a little bit spiritual here on you, meaning another part of the book that was profound was Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body. Now, the pain body is that thought, that feeling, that innate kind of nurtured way that you respond to things based on childhood events, right? So if you experience a lot of trauma, maybe you're on eggshells, anxiety, there's a correlation. And I don't want to get too deep into that because this is nor the time nor the place. Actually, let's do it, baby. So let's talk. Let's have real talk, right? That's what I've come to know this as real talk. And so my son and I coined that. We've been using it with the old dog communities. Let's go, Lean Builder Nation. Let's have some real talk right now. Pain body, right? Quick responses, agitated, irritated, short fuse, right? Am I perfect for construction or what? And I'll tell you what, if you would have brought this to me, and it's been brought to me several times before, I just say, hey man, that's like the Hoots way, right? That's what the Hoots does. But it's not. Talking with Max Story, which is another amazing podcast that we have coming up. Mac dives into the pause button, and he talks about Dr. Stephen Covey in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and how that book changed his life. I don't want to ruin our episode, but let's just put it this way. I suffer from a lot of the similar things of, hey, I got a short temper, right? And if you ask me, I could show you the linear history, the family tree where every branch has been snapped off and broken over a hoots and rage. Like that is just what happens. But what Mac's story tells me is that between stimulus and response is a choice. Now, many of us don't realize that we have that choice because we're acting out of feeling and emotion. We don't actually take a second to think, right? To get outside this being, be the self, and say, man, my response could go one of two ways. It could make or break the situation. What is my choice? So, begin in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Stephen Covey says between stimulus and response lies a choice. He also says in that response, you become response able. And again, shout out Mac's story, his book, Blue Collar Leadership. Like, y'all got to go check this thing out. It is magical. And when you're not response able, you become irresponsible. Let's sum it up like this: when you recognize generational patterns in your life and you enable those things to continue to move forward, you become irresponsible because you are response able. You are able to respond between stimulus and response. There is a gap. And if you allow yourself to become the self and to really look at the being first, you'll realize that you design a lot of your own problems. Again, I'm not here to talk about you. I'm here to talk about me because this is a realization that I have come to over the last few weeks. I don't spend enough time in the now. I spend too much time associated with the future, but also with the past. And in the book, The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle tells us those two things are not real. My future doesn't matter, isn't real, doesn't exist at all. Not a thing. My past, same thing, not real, doesn't exist. It's no thing, no ting, baby. But what is a thing and what is the moment is right now, right? Right this second, right present now, when you are listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth. That is the only thing that exists in this world. There is no past, there is no future, there is only now. And the things that you do in the now maybe reflect the past, potentially reflect the future, but there's only now. The past is simply a bunch of old nows. The future, it's a bunch of future nows. The next nows. The only thing you have is now. And guess what? That now is the now of the past. You'll never get it back. It is eternally gone, forever gone. But there's this now. And so, not to get too spiritual, but I do want to take you through a couple of things that have been enlightening to me. I am not my mind. I have a self and I have a being, and I'm going to allow them to work together to control one another, to be able to train one another to get the best of both worlds. And you can do this too. And so I want to take you through a few things that I've started doing every morning. I am working on getting better at this, getting longer at this. And by no means am I hitting every morning. I'm probably, I don't know, 80%, right? My PPC is 80%. Not great, not bad, but we're getting there, right? It's coming easier with practice. What I do is I sit in a dark room for about 5 to 10 minutes. And actually, let me give you the cheat code. Download an app called Headspace. They give you a free 4 minute meditation every single day. And that's how I start. I go down in a dark space, I sit on the couch, and I just sit there. And when I get in that mode, I get in that mood, I just hit the start button on the Headspace app and it takes me through this guided meditation where it's this dude's voice and it's like got a little English accent, which I just love. And you can customize your voice, but it talks to you like, all right, you know, relax, close your eyes, in through the nose, out through the mouth, circular breathing. Focus on your breath, right? And it's guiding meditation. And it's now close your eyes. And I allow that to take me into the meditation. And again, if you would have said this to me a year ago, I would have laughed at you, right? Meditation is not my thing, it's not for me. But there is something involved with just being in the moment, setting my day up. And again, it's maybe 5 minutes, right? I might make it an extra minute after that app tells me to open my eyes. And it's funny because the first time I did it, I probably made it 2 minutes. And I finally was like, what's going on here? The damn thing was done already. I was like, okay. But that's, it was, man, it connected. And when you focus on your breathing, and you focus on the moment, and you allow thoughts to come in your head, and then you slowly say, in the last couple of weeks, this has become stronger for me. Again, I am not my mind. Now, I want to talk a little bit about how I have used the power of now in my life at home. I've said this a few different times on the podcast. I have not been the best husband, right? Like, I just haven't been that guy. There are many of you out there who are better than me in this department, and I'm not going to deny that. And if my wife was standing right here, she would probably say a dozen more things that I really wouldn't be proud of and don't want on the show. And so with that being said, the last couple of weeks have been I've been very intentful about just being present, being there. I've said this on the podcast before, but there's a YouTube video called It's Not About the Nail, where the wife has a nail driven in her forehead and the husband cannot stop. And she's, oh, I have a headache. I don't feel well. Every time I put a sweater on, it snags. And the husband's, you have a nail in your head. If you took the nail out of your, but it's not about the nail, right? And the point is, she just wants you to listen, right? Brittany will tell you, I am a solutionizer. Get the nail out of your head all day long. But that's not what the moment needs. And so I urge you to be in the moment, come to the now, be in the present. What is right now telling you? Listen to the sounds around you. Focus on your breaths. Understand what thoughts are coming into your head, why they come into your head, What can you do about those thoughts? And if there's nothing you can do about those thoughts and you don't like those thoughts, then get rid of them. You have the power to do that. I'm giving you the power. Matter of fact, Eckhart Tolle allowed Matt Oli, who allowed me to allow you to boot those thoughts right up out of your head. When you can take this into your day to day life, and you may be on your way to a job site right now. Goodness, I hope you're on your way to a job site right now. And when you get to that gate this morning and you go to unlock it, and maybe there's somebody waiting on you, take a second after you get it unlocked, get it open, look at that person and engage in the now. Say, hey, how are you? What are you going to do today? How was yesterday? How's the family? Make a connection and be in the now because it will take you further than you will ever go. We talk about developing trust. We talked about pausing and reflecting. We talked about pushing form and pulling content. Like we've talked about a lot of ways to develop your capabilities. There is no one way better than living now, being present with people's words, like hanging on every single breath, every syllable, every word that somebody is trying to tell you, and being able to dig a little bit deeper. We've talked about the art of questioning on this podcast, of being able to find the next question, right? If you are listening intently, there will always be a next question. And so you cannot listen to people if you are not present in the moment right now. This concept will change your life. I'm telling you that the things that you don't like the most around you are a product, are a design of your life, and you have intentionally designed it that way. If you would like to make changes in that, be present in the now and pay attention to every intention that exists in front of you because I'm telling you, you will see it, you will understand it. And that doesn't mean being on my phone and having my phone here and just scrolling as I'm talking to you and doing my podcast and oh yeah, or I'm on my emails over here. Like I catch myself doing this. This is not, I'm not throwing darts. I am just as guilty or more because I'm lean, right? I got to do 18 things at once. Wrong. Limit work in progress. Work in small batches and finish as we go. Little's law tells us this. But again, centering back to this moment in time on earth, think about what you have. Like what the ability to record a podcast and not be fearful for my life because lions or tigers are chasing me, right? To be safe and secure in a home that's heated in 17-degree weather outside. What a blessed person I am, right? From a spiritual standpoint, beyond my comprehension. Uh, like, why me now on this earth, in this place? Um, Deeper on a spiritual level, are you able to control your response? Are you able to live in the now and hang on every word such that you can help somebody self discover themselves? Are you asking the right questions? Because people are answering the questions that they hear you ask. So, are you being intentional with your words on a daily basis? Do you meditate? Do you sit down and allow your thoughts to come and then kick them out? Do you control your thoughts or do your thoughts control you? When you get to this place of allowing my thoughts to come in my head, bounce around, and leave, you realize that thoughts are things. When you hold too many things, you can do nothing. Overproduction, inventory. It causes waste, it causes defects. It's hard. It's hard work being in the now, being present in every moment because there are so many distractions around us. It takes forced effort. It takes intentional, strategic time and effort. It's hard work. Don't shy away from that hard work because where there's hard work, there's value. So just live in the power of now because that's what lean builders do.